Hello, we're back at the fourth place that you can name drop Karl Sax, and I'm standing here at the juncture of Peters Hill Road and the Poplar Gate Road, and I'm gonna point to a hybrid that is mentioned in a blog entry called Flowering Habits, and you'll see that it is kind of straight ahead. It's the huge tree there that's right there, and that's the hybrid that's mentioned in the article. It's a hybrid between an American crabapple and a European crabapple, and this is one of the unnamed hybrids that Karl Sax is known for, and it gets kind of high praise in this blog entry. So just to kind of orient you here, I'm gonna move around. There's the map, there's the sign to the exit Poplar, to the Poplar Gate. So this is the juncture here, and right now it's easy to see that tree because it's kind of you know, all the leaves are down. And then I'm also going to kind of steer us in this direction, which is just behind this one in front of us is number 318 on the expeditions map. So that's going to be our next stop. So here is our stop 318 on the expeditions app, and this is in reference to Malus Mary Potter. I've already talked about this a little bit. There's one of these over on the State Lab hillside there, and in this case the link to the expeditions app will give you a direct link to the Flowering Habits blog entry. It also gives you a link to an article that Karl Sax himself wrote in 1955 about these various hybrids that he's responsible for, and then also another link to a general article about crab apples. So it's a really good source here if you want to learn more about Karl Sax. Another spot we can comment on Karl Sax's work with hybrids is up here a little bit on Peters Hill, and you'll notice that there's a bench down there. So if you come down the Poplar Gate Road and then take a right on the Peters Hill Road, it's the first bench you see. And if you sit in that bench and just look straight up the hill, you'll see this crabapple. It's the Malus Henry F. DuPont. And again, what's fun about Karl Sax is that you can name drop all these other names, the trees that he named people after. And Henry F. DuPont is super interesting because he kind of finds his life's calling at the Arboretum. He was a student at the Bussey Institute, eventually took over his father's property at Winterthur, which is a place really worth going to if you're traveling in the Washington, D.C. area. It's another Arboretum where Henry F. DuPont put to work his skills. So Henry F. DuPont was also significantly on the visiting committee, which was really kind of a governing board for the Arboretum, and he served for 50 years, from like 1917 until he almost just before he died. So Henry F. DuPont, another kind of super interesting guy you could name drop in the process of name dropping Karl Sax. Now here I am in front of that bench with the Alan Turing quote, and I'm just going to turn right around, face up the hill. You can see there's a pretty clear shot. You see my footprints, and then that tree, the first tree you bump into is that Henry F. DuPont. So it's a little bit twisty, kind of a obvious one to find. So just know that that's out there, and another little story. And there's only 2 of these Henry F. DuPont trees in the whole Arboretum, and that's one of them here. The other one is up a bit. All right, so I'm back up on Peters Hill, standing right next to the Malus Henry F. DuPont that I was just talking about. And I just want you to show you that there's Karl Sax is very close by. I just discovered that I'm gonna flip this around. So here's our Malus Henry F. DuPont. There's our bench. Now I'm just turning a little bit this way. Here's the mulch path. Can't really see because it's covered with snow. But just beyond this Henry F. DuPont, you see these two little babies. And I'm gonna walk toward them now. And these two little babies are Malus E.H. Wilson. There looks like accession date is 2018. So here's one. There's the other one. And right across the path, I don't know if this is the mama or the papa, but this is also a Malus E.H. Wilson from 1952. That's kind of a big stump with a lot of sprouts there. And this tag actually has Karl Sax's name on it. So, and I should mention too that Flowering Habits blog post mentions that there's about 30 different of the hybrids that goes back to Sax's work from the 40s and the 50s, kind of all over this hill. So a lot more to discover. If you search the database for Karl Sax, there's 163 entries, and you have to kind of, if you download and look at the spreadsheet, you can see that a lot of those have Karl Sax's name shows up under plant origin. So it's not something you often see, but if you dig in a little bit in the database, you'll see Karl Sax's name all over the place. All right, so I need to wrap up with one mention of a cherry hybrid called the Prunus Holly Jolivet, and there are none of those on the campus, and I'm wondering why. And I put this out there that I think there should be at least one, and it is one of the major hybrids Sax is known for. And this one is named after his wife, Holly Jolivet, who was actually his professor when he studied undergraduate at Washington State College. So somewhat scandalous, perhaps. They get married maybe shortly after he graduates in 1916. And then she takes a job in 1917 at Wellesley College. She was 5 years his senior, so not a big gap there. But she takes a job there to help put him through school while he attends the Bussey Institute, works on his master's, works on his PhD, takes a year off to fight in World War I and this kind of thing. So, but Holly Jolivet, another name to be dropped, just because apparently she was a partner. Her name is on a lot of the papers that Sax published as a co-author. So, kind of a, hidden woman there. So, I want to lift her up and mention her also as a kind of a significant botany professor and active in research. So that's it for my introduction to Karl Sax. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you for listening.